What if the hardest battles in your life aren't outside, but inside your own mind? Jessie was 14. She moved to a new country, didn't speak the language, and had no friends. Today, she shares how she turned all that uncertainty into the person she is today. Awesome. Hey Jess, how are you going? Welcome.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you for having me here.
Maybe before we start, for those who don't know you, would you be able to share a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, hello everyone. My name is Jessie. I was born in China. I lived in Australia for about 20 or so years now. I'm a new mom. I've got a little boy that's just turned 1 year old. Still feels a little bit surreal that I've got a little bubby. Also, wife to my amazing husband, John. Career-wise, I am a marketer. I work at a fintech company. We help everyday Australians to invest better. I work with a group of people that are super intelligent, amazing, and passionate at what we do. So I feel really lucky, and I enjoyed it very much. That's me.
And Jess, if you were to write an autobiography for yourself, what would the title be and why?
That's a really interesting question. I'd say the name of the book will probably be called Perspective. And that's simply because I think in life, everything is about your perspective. An example for this would be, I switched schools quite a bit when I was a kid. And most of people would think it would be quite disruptive for a kid. And true, at that time, it was a lot of change. It was a lot of changes for me. But also, I've quite enjoyed it. As part of the changes, I got to meet a lot of people, learned so many new things about different cities, get to study with people from different communities. So I think it helped me to shape my curiosity and resilience. And that's an example of why I probably call my life Perspective, because, it's this, you can see it this way, and then the other way you can see it differently. But I often choose to see life in a positive way, and hence I would probably call it Perspective.
Oh, wow. I really like that perspective that you have there. Like seeing
What about
things.
you?
Oh,
Sorry
yeah.
for
Well,
interrupting.
that's all right. No, I think for me, it would be called WIP. WIP, standing for work in progress, because I believe that in all aspects of my life, I am growing and learning in different ways. I think I like yours as well. It's that 360 degrees of looking at the world or whatever circumstances you've been placed in and looking at 360 ways of perspectives. Love that. And a question that I usually ask everyone is, what has been your most memorable challenge, struggle, or setback to date?
I mean, the most recent one obviously is becoming a mother. That has been a beautiful challenge that I've faced. I mean, currently I'm experiencing this, big challenge at the moment. It's, finding my new identity as a working mom, something that I haven't done before. You literally got promoted to become a mom overnight. And it's a beautiful challenge that I'm embracing. And I also feel very lucky because, not a lot of people, some people at some parts of the world don't have that privilege to be able to juggle work and parenthood. I feel very grateful to have this opportunity to juggle. Yeah, so it's a beautiful challenge that I'm experiencing right now, but it's probably not the biggest challenge that I'd say. I probably will share that the biggest challenge that I've probably experienced to date was when I first migrated to Australia as a little kid, not quite a little kid, a teenager. I was 14-year-old at the time. As you can imagine, 14-year-old girl, lots of things going on in her life, emotionally, worried about, what you look like, worried about your friendship group, worried about how people perceive you. And that's all happening internally. And let alone externally, out of a sudden, you are in this new environment where everything's new. You don't have the friends that you used to hang out with. You're in this new country that you don't speak the language of. And then all these challenges comes with, new school, new ways of studying, new ways of living, actually. It was quite a bit of a challenge from an identity point of view. Thinking about it, back in China, I was the class captain and I was leading a lot of extracurricular activities. I was this girl that loved sport and the art. Then, boom, you're in this new country where now your new identity is this new girl that can't speak English. And it's quite a bit of a change for a 14-year-old. And I think I struggle a little bit at the beginning. And especially when it comes to learning a new language, you feel a little bit embarrassed when you make grammatical mistakes, or people, subtly, tease you or make small jokes about your accent and etc. And I think at that time it was magnified in this little 14-year-old girl's mind, and she'll replay it again and feel quite awkward about it. But then obviously as I've grown, I kind of see it differently. Hey, I speak multiple languages. Why does it matter if I make small grammatical errors? Native speakers do as well. But hang on for a second, just because you're a new country, it doesn't mean you're no longer this person that loves sport, the art, and don't let your superpowers becomes your weakness, if you know what I mean. Don't let your accent, your views of the world, the fact that you've experienced different things becomes your weakness. Let that be your superpower. And obviously that's something that I have learned as I've gotten older. But yeah, I think definitely as a 14-year-old, it was quite a bit of a challenge for me at the time.
Yeah, right. So what I'm hearing is when you actually migrated here from China, the hardest part was you actually restarting your life. You had to relearn new ways of living in a new country, a new language. What do you think was the hardest thing for you?
I think it was the mindset. I think naturally for kids, learning a new thing isn't really hard. If you ask a 5-year-old to pick up a new language, they'll pick it up straight away. And 14, I was relatively young. Learning new things wasn't too hard, but it's the mindset of I've got to start all over again, rather than, something like, hey, look, I'm going to be Jessie 2.0 and I'm going to be an improved version of me. It was very much of, now I have no friends. I have to start over again. Where do I find myself? Who am I again? Who am I? This is a new country. This is a new school with a bunch of new people. Everybody mingle differently. Who am I? How am I supposed to blend in? How am I supposed to adapt? I think the mindset of, I don't know what to do, I have to start over again, was probably the biggest challenge. And because you don't feel confident. You don't feel confident in what you do, although you can do it. Although I'm going to put my hands up for this basketball competition. But you just, somehow you're like, maybe this is not the right place for me to do it. Maybe because I'm new, I should play low. All this sort of mind going on in a 14-year-old's mind. Definitely a big challenge at the time. And you can apply that in all sorts of different settings, I suppose. When you change your new workplace, or when you've gone older and moved to a different country. I'm sure people all have different sorts of experiences around being new at a new country or new place or a new school.
I'm curious, how did you go about in terms of shifting your mindset from being it's too hard to how do I take it from embracing this as an opportunity?
Yeah, it definitely didn't happen overnight. It wasn't, today I'm still feeling a bit confused and tomorrow, boom, out of a sudden, there's this new version of me. It took time. I think the first 12 months was a bit of a struggle for me to try to find my place. And as time goes by, you were able to, adapt and find people that you can start talking to, find friendship. Also, at the same time, you realize this is just the same as my previous school. This is just still people, friends, teachers, the ways to learn. You're still you. You haven't changed just because you moved to a new country. And that, I think it's just a gradual realization of, all right, one thing at a time, you made new friends. Great. You kind of get a hang of how the study system works here. You kind of know how the communication styles are here. So one thing at a time, okay, great. So there's not real key differences and you're still you. And I think it took me a while to realize I'm still me. Just because I moved to a new country doesn't mean, the old me no longer exists. It's just an improved version of me. That really helped me to reshape my identity and find my sense of belonging.
Particular things that kind of helped you to progressively and gradually to accept it?
Maybe if I can summarize it, maybe it comes down to two things. First of all, I was very lucky and I've encountered really nice and supportive people. We had an amazing year advisor at the time that supported me throughout my transition time. I met great friends that we are still friends to date. I think I was very lucky, to have found people that I can reach out and seek help when I needed to. The other thing is, I guess, living in the present moment and not too worried about the future really helped me. Not too worried about what am I going to do tomorrow, what is this going to look like. This is going to be so many more years ahead before I graduate of high school and move into uni. Simply one day at a time. How am I feeling today? What am I going to do today? What are the things I'm going to achieve today? Really helped me. If there's an opportunity available, forget about thinking whether if you can do it or not. Just say you're interested, I want to give it a go. And whether if it's a big challenge or not, then you can kind of, if you have to learn, you have to learn. If you need to seek help, you have to seek help. But living in the present moment of, I want to give it a go, I'm going to put my hands up for new opportunities. Or I think, these are great people that I want to get to then say hi to them and ask them out for lunch. And I think that also helped me a lot. Not worrying too much about the future and living in the present really helped me.
Yeah, awesome, Jess. Sounds like there were two things that were really pivotal in helping your mindset shift. One was actually being surrounded with a community of supportive people. And secondly, it was actually you changing or shifting your mindset and going, stop worrying about the future, but how can I be more present in the present is what I heard from you. And if you could go back in time, would there be anything that you would change?
Good question. Usually I'm usually a person that doesn't like to think about this question because I often go by, I don't live with any regrets because, the decisions I make today is the best decisions I'll make today. But if I were to go back and tell my little 14-year-old self, I'll probably be, like I mentioned briefly before, don't let your accent or your grammar mistakes or how the way you see the world become your weakness. Think of them as your superpowers and think of how you might use your superpowers to help yourself, help other people and help the world. Rather than going, oh, these are the things that I have to fix. How about these are the things that you can share? These are the things that you can amplify and how might it add value to yourself and others? That's a little tip that I'll have for my 14-year-old self. But yes, no regrets. I think although it was a challenging year, but it was a great year. I've got to enjoy the new country, make so many lifelong friends, get to discover a new version of me. That was the best bit.
I love it, friend. I think what I heard was, don't actually let weakness to be something that you are trying to change, but instead embracing your weakness and perhaps even turn it into a strength. Look for opportunities for it to turn into something that not only do you embrace and could be actually a strength, is what I also heard from you.
It's going back to the perspective thing. Do you perceive it as your weakness? Then it's your weakness. Do you then think of it as something else? Is it a gift that you've got? Then you would see it as something different. So I think it's how I've come to embrace different things that happens in life or different experiences that you get to have. It's your perspective that will shape how you decided to go ahead with it.
Yeah, I love that. It's like your mindset and your perspective is so important. It shapes your words, it shapes the way that you show up as well. And friend, if you were to share to someone who might be experiencing something right now, like whether they are moving to a new country or whether they've experienced something that is completely new to them, meaning that they might have to start reliving again or picking up pieces in order to adopt a new ways of living, I'm curious if you could tell her one thing to prepare her, what would it be?
Good question. Something that I've learned recently, and it's me constantly reflecting because now I'm a mom and a lot of things that I have to relearn. Instead of thinking that you are starting over again or you're starting from scratch and this can feel really hard, think of it as an improvement. So a constant phrase that I constantly use is, now I'm Jessie 2.0 and I'm an improved version of Jessie 1.0. So I'm not starting over again in this whole new journey, but I'm an improved version where, I've leveraged my previous experience and I'm open to all the unknown and taking it one step at a time to help me to grow and to improve and to enjoy my current journey. So yes, for if anyone is experiencing a big change, whether if it's, moving to a new country, getting on a new role at work or in life like me, being a mom, one day at a time, and seek for the 2.0 rather than going back to think about how are you going to perfect another 1.0 version. So that's probably something that I'd share if people find it helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. Really appreciated you having you on and sharing your story, which I don't think I've really heard that in depth. So thank you so much for sharing today.
No problem, and thank you so much for having me, and great job for starting this great podcast to share great experiences of people. So I can't wait to listen to more episodes.
Thanks, friend. What I'm taking away from Jessie's story is this: our perspective really does shape everything. It's not the challenges themselves that define us. It's how we choose to see them. Instead of thinking you're starting over, see it as becoming a stronger version of yourself. Adapting doesn't mean abandoning who you were. It means building on who you are, one day at a time and one step at a time. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by change right now, give yourself grace. Focus on what you can do today, not everything you can't. And remember, your 2.0 self is waiting. If this story made you pause, share it with a friend who needs the reminder. And if you're new here, welcome. Hit subscribe so you don't miss our next story. Bye for now, friends.